Let me just introduce our special guests tonight, Bart Campolo and Tony Campolo. They're capable of conversation, as you've seen. I guess we should just maybe ask what's changed since the movie. Tony, do you want to start? I mean, this was actually 3 years ago or so that we started this process of filming this. Has there been any changes in your thinking or the way you feel now?
I think I would have challenged Bart on one thing when he was describing the magnificence of life without God and what it's like to embrace life with passion because there is no afterlife, that this life is all there is. Now look at you. You've got a beautiful wife. You've got a family, you've got health, you've got so much going for you. For you to say, I embrace life passionately with all of its wonder is easy. I would have to say there are billions of people in this world who are suffering, who are on the verge of starvation. There are billions of people in this world who suffer every day. There are huge numbers of people in hospitals not too far from here who wake up every morning in pain and in agony, and in all honesty, wish that this life was over because it's so painful and so ugly. I don't know what you have to offer them. I say this, that there is a God who, when this life is over, will receive you unto himself. And he will wipe away your tears. That's what it says in the book of Revelation. And he will comfort you. And to people who suffer, and that's a huge chunk of the world's population, I have that hope, and I think I would have pressed it more in our discussion.
Bart?
Well, that would have blown the movie apart. I wouldn't have had anything to say, and we'd have been over. I'm glad you didn't think of that. No, you know, the thing that's changed most for me, I mean, besides my location, I mean, I look at all those location shots of Los Angeles, and that's where I was.
Horrible.
It was, I loved working at the University of Southern California, and we built this really wonderful fellowship of students there, and it was great. But my wife hated Los Angeles so much. And after 3 years, she finally said, just take me home, please. And so, like, I don't know if most of you know this, but in September, we moved back to Cincinnati. And I'm now the humanist chaplain at the University of Cincinnati, which is a less impressive title, but you can afford a house there. And so, so that's the big change for me. And honestly, watching this movie was a little time capsule-y.
Yes, it was.
You know, it's like, I mean, I felt like you were much more vital then. You seem so much more broken down now. Yeah, no. And so it is like, that was a moment in the conversation. And what's funny is the thing you brought up is not something that we haven't talked about since then. And I guess if there was anything I was hoping for when this movie was made, when we were shooting it, when it was really about making the book at the first. We were writing a book, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to say, so we started talking. And seeing this movie, if there's anything I always hoped it would be, not that people would end up with conclusions, but that it would show people a way of talking. Because you're like, well, what was the conclusion of that movie? Who won? It wasn't a debate. And you say, like, well, do you still think all the same things? No, the conversation keeps coming. I mean, you brought me that idea of like, what does a humanist say to suffering people? And I've been working on that, and we've talked about that. And like, my hope is that most of you know us, but there are a lot of people out there in the world that I meet who have, somebody in the family has left the faith, and it has not gone well.
That's right.
And my hope is that more than the ideas about God and humanism and all that stuff, I hope that people take away the idea that you could really love somebody and be interested in what they think and how their life works, even if you don't agree with them.
I have to bring your mother, my wife, into it. She spent a good chunk of her life working with gay and lesbian people. And so many parents, when they find out their kid is gay or lesbian, throw them away and say, I don't want you back in my house anymore. Let me say this to every parent here. Don't ever let your kid walk away from you thinking that you don't want that child anymore. Let me say this about God. There's nothing you can do that will get God to love you more. And there's nothing you can do that will get God to love you less. I want to imitate God, and I think that every parent should.
Yeah, it's good.